was once and maybe twice, and it was like, okay, sure. But it was like constantly it was happening in the river, and it even sparked multiple fights down there as well near Dragon Pit. But we are getting to the second game. We'll see if FPX can bounce back against OMG, who are starting to play more on form and more what we're used to seeing from them. So they will ban out the Cogmore, the Tam Kench from OMG, and on the opposite side, Kalista and Alistair from FPX.
The must ban from FPX is usually going to be the Cogmore LWX. If you don't know him, plays Cogmore and will probably play Twitch. If both are not available, then he may go to another type of carry. Last game, they early rotated the Ezreal, however, felt like as a denial, but then the Kalista bopped them. So now you've got a Kalista in the ban list. We'll have to see what the AD carry priority becomes for FPX.
And where is the priority as well for OMG, right? Because Sejuani was also banned against World 6, and that was an instant first pick from them, just allowing them that ability to engage and also catch out Pepper as the game progressed, but Ryze will actually be the pickup now for Icon.
I like this contrast from OMG. It may not be a priority for, yeah, that's a Zoe hover.
Hello.
It may not be a priority for OMG to have the Ryze, but to take it from Bing seems to be the number one priority. And now FPX deliberating between good or broken.
Yeah, I mean, Zoe is very strong, sometimes a little bit gimmicky, but okay, they'll lock in the Azir in the end. But I feel like, man, if Zoe's open and you're against a stronger team, why not just pick and give yourself the chance that Zoe might just pop off?
I don't disagree. I think that Zoe is exceptionally strong, and when she is winning, she is the devil. But there are ways to beat her, and Ryze is actually one of the traditional answers to it. At least in solo queue, from what I've been seeing, if a Ryze runs Unsealed Spellbook and starts with Cleanse, you can't kill the Ryze. In fact, the Ryze has a higher chance to kill you pretty much at all times. And if he can survive laning phase, he gets an Abyssal Mask, you're pretty much done.
Could be the possibilities there, so it just goes to a standardized pick of Azir. And we've got Lee Sin for the jungle as well for Pepper. So if he wants to get into the enemy jungle for World 6 or of World 6, he will be able to do so. Varus down to Chelly, and most likely a support pickup here as well for OMG. Actually getting priority on Braum, it looks like.
Yeah, they may want a jungler instead just so that it doesn't get banned, but we'll have to see if they do prioritize the support or if they change their mind. So now, they haven't changed their mind. The jungle role is something that FPX can look towards actively banning. Same thing applies here if the logic is there for FPX. Do they want to pick an AD carrier or a support? Because they can only pick one. The rest gets banned. I'd pick a support.
Yes, indeed. But FPX, we'll see what they'll go towards. They already picked up the mid laner as well, so they're probably going to leave top lane as a counter pick on red side here for FPX. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. And it would make sense to lock in a support, but it's actually Janna. So even though there were tank supports still left available for them, they'll lock in Janna.
Last second swap to that Janna. With no AD carries available, it makes you wonder that if this forces some funny bans from OMG, do they just freak out and say, all right, we need to get rid of Twitch and we need to get rid of Tristana. Cogmore is already gone. Those are the two outstanding hyper carries that may just stand to attention. So we'll see where OMG goes with their ban phases. Unsurprisingly from FPX, they target the place that wasn't picked in the first 3 of draft.
Actually ban away World 6's Rengar.
He laughed about it too.
He did.
He thought that was very funny.
Maybe. Vayne ban, yes. So OMG are getting ready for the possibility that LWX is going to bring out another hyper carry, which, first off, hyper carry player. Second, they've locked in the Janna, so probably going to be one of those.
With the Vayne gone though, there's still 2 hyper carries that I mentioned before that are there. So makes you wonder.
It's pretty much what you don't want to play against within that pool at this point.
He has played Tristana, so that might be the second ban for them, but that does leave open Twitch. And Twitch is just generally a stronger hyper carry if we're going to go by the definition. So I think it might be a Twitch ban and just sacrifice that they can have a Tristana if they want.
Might be the case. Rek'Sai, the ban against World 6 here. Lots of respect towards the jungler, and as you said, do expect a support AD carry pick to follow up here. And Caitlyn, actually. Okay, not a big pick for LWX, but not seen so much in the current meta.
So they've completely separated themselves from all of the traditional hyper carries, and they're not sure where LWX is going to go, but it's more so acknowledgement that he's gonna get one. We can't ban them all right now, so we're just going to pick and ban away things that we don't want to deal with and have a better time as the end result for that. Also, with the 2 jungle bans from FPX, it does feel like the last 4 bans we've seen have been like halfway meta. Rengar and Rek'Sai, like, they're good. World 6 plays them, but if World 6 plays Kha'Zix, then he's just going to pick the meta version of what was banned anyway.
Yeah. They're good, they're not the best. Though, Tristana locked in here, as you were saying, probably the most likely option past those 2. Maybe we see something like a Twitch as well, but it's going to be Tristana, which is a little bit more safe in that lane as well. And just in general.
You probably round out this composition with a Gangplank and a Kha'Zix if you want to assassinate top laners, but there are other options there. Again, Xiang is a super good Gangplank, but he also is a tank player primarily.
He is, but with Gangplank being available, I guess it's just because they're scared of what Gimgoon could bring out at this point. Because has it been a Camille ban? No. There's still a lot of bruises in the top side that could do very well into the Gangplank pick. But Ornn is going to be the pickup here. And a Kha'Zix for the jungle as well. World 6 will get his hands on that one, so something that could at least combat the Lee Sin in the early game.
And not knowing who's going to be the counter pick, I think you're right, Pulse, is the scariest feature for OMG. They don't want to pick the Gangplank blind. They know there's things like Urgot running around.
Alawi, you're currently in an Ornn situation. You're looking at top lane. Yes, you could be boring and go Gangplank and farm it out with Kleptomancy, but now is the perfect situation to pick Alawi, goddammit. It's going to be Gangplank.
You're never going to get it if you call it.
I'm never going to get it anyway. Every time Alawi's in the meta, I never get to cast it. But
that's actually true. There's a curse that transcends region for you, Pulse.
It's actually terrible. In EU, and now in China, the worst. But Gangplank in the top lane is not actually just swapping up the matchup, so Gimgoon will pick that one up. They'll be onto World 6 as well to try and exploit the matchup and stop him from farming, because as Raz was saying, he is just a ticking time bomb who does well in lane, and specifically this lane. Getting into the second game here. We'd like to see a game 3, honestly, between FPX and OMG. It's not like they get to play each other every day.
Yeah, what I would like to see at the very least is FPX playing at their best.
Yeah, that's true. And we may need a few weeks, to be fair, for that, because Funplus Phoenix, very new team to playing together. Not necessarily the stage, because we've seen Gimgoon before. In fact, we've seen already all these players, apart from being played on the Rift here in the LPL, but together. That's something
I've got some bad news.
What's that?
Bing has ruined it.
What's he done?
Take a look at the items. And
Why
you'll
would
notice that there is a single one missing.
For a stopwatch. Out of everybody else in the game.
Everyone else has a stopwatch.
We could have had the game. 10 out of 10 stopwatches. It better be worth it that he's going for, whatever it is.
I'd imagine he's still in a very similar tree. Sorry, Azir, I should say, always goes precision secondary, so I shouldn't say that. That's the reason that he doesn't have it.
Bummer.
Comet is his keystone. You can see that next to his name, so that does mean he has to be precision as a secondary. Needs that alacrity, and potentially the presence of mind once again with that.
Absolutely fine, I guess, but maybe alternatively he could have picked something else. Something that could have picked up the stopwatch, but World 6 is going to get the red buff on the bottom side. Actually move on to his Raptors now, so a bit of a delayed start here for Chelly and 5, and we'll get the push advantage over to LWX and Crisp, which obviously just going to be a very good thing for these two players. There was a start on the top side there for Gimgoon and Pepper.
Yeah, LWX and Crisp, while they're on your screen, have committed to the overheal build for Tristana and Janna. It's a barrier on Trist and a heal on Janna. Makes a whole lot of sense. They're going to try and ramp up and be hyper carries, and if anyone's going to do that, it is LWX with Crisp supporting. Whereas in the middle lane, a lot of reminiscence of the last game with the minion dematerializer for Icon. In the middle lane, that's where World 6 comes into play. Instead of running into the other jungler, always a possibility that he comes for a gank in the middle lane.
Right now, I really do think it's going to be about the junglers in this early game. World 6 and Pepper, they were finding each other early, invading. And both of these junglers are very much invade junglers. They like to get those advantages, allow the lanes to do their own thing, with the advantage that they've managed to accrue. So we'll see what they do after they get their initial clears, though both of them are going for full clears. So World 6 now moves to the top side.
Well, we actually got a very early move from Icon and World 6 up towards the top lane. There's no stopwatches active, but they are diving.
Yeah, Gimgoon knocked up, and in comes World 6. He's next to his tower, so he has to reduce damage, but at the very least, Icon will be able to walk in and pick up first blood. And that's one way to shut down a GP.
Jesus, that was early coming out of them. Icon can actually switch with the Unsealed Spellbook to teleport as well and get back to mid lane with a tier and then some, because he's the recipient of that first blood. That is a super strong start for OMG. Picking on the Gangplank, making him pay for it, and sending 3 people up there. So it wasn't just a gank. It wasn't just forcing him to recall and teleport. It was actually killing him and giving gold to the rest of the map. And that's what I like so much from OMG just then.
Yeah, and frankly, that's what we needed to see from FPX as well, but we never visited top side ever. And Pepper, get out of my jungle. Gonna follow up after World 6 as well. Doesn't have the red buff, so even if he gets some range, I'm not sure what he's hoping to achieve. But we should have just turned back onto the Raptors at that point. But regardless, that's one way to shut down a GP, is just to gank him early. And especially that's where the Ornn really comes into effect, because you can't orange out of the knockups and the knockbacks and everything that Ornn has. So once you get CC, you're getting planted in place.
He's just the best champion to gank for. You've seen Rengar-Ornn combos as well, where Rengar just ults through lane. But there's no way to dodge all of the crowd control. I know top laners like Gangplank will have the stopwatch, but if you use the stopwatch, then the Rengar's already on top of you. You still can't escape. So again, Ornn, definitely a place that you want to go if you can to gank for. I do love the creativity from OMG. Once again, using Minion Dematerializer and a Cannon Wave. I know I've been saying it a lot, but that gives you free roams. The timing of that roam was at the Cannon Wave.
Oh, Pepper, he stopped his recoil and is now over a ward anyways. So Icon knows he's right there. He's actually playing towards his top side of the wave. This is very ballsy from Icon because Bing will follow up. Doesn't have the level 6. He now has to burn his flash, but will turn around onto Pepper. He has to flash away because World 6 is here. And Icon will collect the kill. They were 5 steps ahead of them, and Bing is very low. Close to dropping as well, and it was all on that ward.
Yeah, Bing has Flash and Cleanse still available, but he is going to have to go back to base. Pepper is dead. World 6, every step you take, he is watching you. And Pepper just cannot get it done like that. Even though Icon looked like he was out of position bottom. That's a big commit.
There's a lot of damage onto LWX as well, but this keeps happening. You know, Pepper being unable to get the synergy together, and it's constantly being exploited by World 6 and Icon, and this has turned into another early game advantage for OMG. We're getting to a situation that could be almost identical to game 1.
Just shows you how capable the 2v2 duo is from this roster of OMG. Bottom lane, I know I cut myself off before. I was very confused as to why they were fighting. I was more confused as to why 5 flashed forwards just to get a stun off. Wasn't really a kill threat. Again, all 4 summoners are there from the bottom lane of FPX, so that felt like a very big disconnect from OMG's 2v2 in contrast to what's been happening in the mid and jungle.
True. I guess they felt pressured to do something because the rest of the map is winning, so we have to win as well. But frankly, you don't necessarily need to. You have a first back as well. Rise gone for the mana build as per usual. Mid lane got some of those daggers, and the stopwatches at 6 minutes have just turned online. So those ganks will be a little bit harder to do, apart from Bing, because he's the only one out. He's the only guy who didn't take that one.
Bing is still the Azir, so once he ticks over to 6, still very difficult to kill nonetheless. And he's against a Rise and a Kha'Zix who have a lot of burst, so if he can cleanse out of the rune prison from Icon, then he should generally be able to survive it. Cleanse is the most important part of that, I think.
100%. Again, we're going to get a bit of free farm here. Got this wave crashing, but he's still about a wave behind Xiang as he goes not back to base. He sticks around. Starting to run out of mana, though.
Look how strong Icon is.
One time that Ornn wants to go back.
Even the Raptors are going to help out a little bit here as Bing tries to escape. Icon 2-0. He's got the Catalyst. He's got his stopwatch ready at any moment, so he's super hard to gank. He's just snowballing in the middle lane so hard that I feel like Pepper does get this red buff, but World 6 can start to intervene with all further jungle camps just because of how quickly mid lane can be a pivot point.
Well, Icon hasn't been as flashy as he usually is. If you give him a couple kills, he will run away with it. So that's still something you have to keep in mind. Bing knocking him into the tower, but he's not taking tower aggro because he didn't attack him. Pepper into the middle of the lane, a bit of a miscommunication. Kick away, lands the Q, following onto Icon. Needs another Tempest. Auto attack should do it, but he gets the shield out. In comes Chris from the bottom side, and is this a WMAX Janna? Yes, it is. Chris picks up the kill.
Chris will get it on the Janna. Unfortunately for everybody else on FPX, it is still the Janna that gets the gold. LWX needs to be super cautious now as well and back away. He dies. Icon does die. It took so much effort to kill him, though, that it almost feels like it isn't worth it.
Yeah, that's to throw so much at him. But in the end, they will be happy with the kill. It is unfortunate it went on to Crisp, as you mentioned. Would have liked it to have gone at least on Pepper, if not Bing.
Yeah,
honestly.
So I feel like, whilst I said it feels like it isn't worth it, I'm actually inclined to believe that if OMG can make some kind of counterplay in response to what has just happened. I feel like it's good for FPX. It buys time for the Azir. It helps them out a lot. Janna getting the gold doesn't mean all that much. It's just that they have freedom to place wards and get some vision control. But it also means that Lee Sin has no kick. Azir has no flash or ultimate. OMG could actually utilize that and get something else bigger back for themselves.
Yeah, for now, though, they are just transferring buffs over to the respective mid laners. That's all they're really looking to do. But it's 2-1 in terms of the kill score, and slight advantage to OMG for gold, but it's not snowballing out of control. I thought that you maybe going to do more on the top side. They got that initial gank onto Gimgoon, which is great, but this is essentially the gold difference you expect to see anyways in that matchup in the 1 versus 1, and it's Gangplank. So give him another 10-15 minutes, and he's just going to be gigantic anyways.
Yeah, there's 2 types of players. On Summoner's Rift Pulse, there is the Kha'Zix and the Lee Sins. You can see the itemization choices and how they are different as well. Kha'Zix wants to kill Lee Sin. Lee Sin just wants to complete his jungle item. Mid lane, Bing.
World 6 wants to kill Bing as well, and he's getting completely minion blocked. He just could not get behind that caster minion.
About 5 seconds away from having his ultimate. It is up about now. Bottom lane also going for a fight.
Yep, starting to brawl, but LWX is able to jump away. Following up now onto the Janna. She goes in, actually goes into the Zhonya's effect, but Crisp will have to use the ultimate there, and LWX is behind Chelly and 5. I'm unsure about this positioning right now. Good knock up there from the Howling Gale.
World
6 away from the tower, and he'll finish you off. Another stopwatch, but they're camped right on top of it. He'll have to flash away. Gimgoon, another perfect timing. In comes Xiang. The ram comes through, knocks up one onto Gimgoon. Gets the lockdown as well, courtesy of Braum. He goes into his stopwatch. In comes Pepper. Lands the cube. It doesn't necessarily want to go in right now.
Icon
We're desperately running out of these stopwatches. Icon is actually teleported behind the fight using his ultimate. After all of that, there was so many kills going over to OMG.
I've lost count of the amount of stopwatches used, but OMG is still steamrolling their way through. Bing is here and Pepper's behind. Gangplank is on the way. I think they're going to try and fight this.
They are very low. Another stopwatch though from 5, because remember, a lot of those players haven't even used them yet. In comes the Azir turret. It's going to be disastrous. OMG need to get out right now, but Chelly's locked underneath it. 2 kills, make that 3, but from the opposite side, Xiang will be falling to Gimgoon, and that was a massive turnaround at the cost of a tower.
OMG definitely overstayed their welcome in that particular trade, but Icon does get out alive after he is the member of the team picking up all of these kills. Super crazy stuff happening through the bottom lane as the spillover effect of what was just a 2v2. One stopwatch was used. LWX, you're right, does find himself behind everyone that flashes in front of him. They want to Crisp, but he gets stunned up. World 6 appears, instantly takes apart Crisp. No chance to survive. The shield was actually used on LWX.
Yep.
2 stopwatches. The rest of the team comes in.
3 stopwatches.
3 stopwatches. Ornn hits everybody. LWX is barely able to survive, but then Icon's making his way in as well.
4.
We're now Jin. That's how many stopwatches there are. Lee Sin hits the Q and Ryze comes in. I feel like FPX, even with him dying here, very much aware that they want to continue to fight, and we don't get to see the coolest part of it though.
I think there were more stopwatches as well.
There was at least 2.
At least 2. Because we looking on the side of the OMG, they were the ones who were popping it. Yeah, there was 2 stopwatches.
So yeah,
Jungle 1, AD carry.
If there's 9 total and 6 were used, there's 3 left.
Quick maths.
And there's 3 left.
Yep. Can confirm. World 6 found himself on the top side now, taking away this crap. Still an objective in the in terms of the Rift Herald. And now both AD carries and supports have found themselves top side as well to try and contest this one. Also the turrets. The first tower went down, so natural swap up.
But we can take stock of what actually happened from all of that fight as well. Gimgoon's 2-1 and 2. The Gangplank is very big.
Very good for the bang.
But it is a 5-1 rise in contrast of that.
It is that.
It is a fairly large rise as far as rises go in sizings. You put him in the large column.
And Gangplank will have to farm a little bit more for him to be super effective, honestly. Icon's on his way to the bot lane. He's about to shut down Gimgoon. Comes the ram, knocks him up, and good luck, Gimgoon. This is going to suck quite a lot, actually, because you're going to be corralled towards the enemy side of the map.
Yeah, it's a slow process here, Pulse.
But Icon will find himself another kill. Just give him some time. There's a lot of skill shots going awry, but in the end, it will be Xiang getting the kill.
Gimgoon's been so long dodging that he just had the wall next to him, so there was nowhere else to go. He's going to go down, and Ryze, with the play, doesn't need the jungler anymore. He's just able to help the top laners in basically the 1v1. The rest of the map still doing a lot of work for OMG and contributing as is World 6 in the top lane.
He stepped all the way around the back because of the ultimate passive. That's absolutely absurd. And LWX will fall as there is some reason a Kha'Zix behind him in that bush.
That's actually so nuts. You'll never see it coming, and there is no counterplay to a Kha'Zix on top of you, but he has got the lethality. But the Varus ultimate connected, all of these things are still put together nicely. World 6 is just a part of knocking that down with the extra damage, so kudos to Chelly for hitting that.
Gangplank ultimate being used on the top side, so at least they'll keep it alive for one wave. But really, it's just going to be a battle of Gimgoon versus Icon. That's essentially what this game is going to turn into but Icon has such a massive lead on the Gangplank. It's going to take so long for those big hyper carries to start scaling. Because if you remember, it's LWX, you've got Bing, they're both on hyper carries themselves, but they need to scale. And it's going to take a long time for that to happen.
What I am interested to monitor here from Icon is if he actually completes the Zhonya's Hourglass earlier and tries to commit to something like a teleport and kill Gimgoon a lot more often. Or if he wants to go towards completing the Seraph's Embrace and doing as much damage as he can, particularly in team fights, just because he still has the stopwatch there. So
Sure.
whilst he's getting up towards enough money, I believe it's 2350 to complete his Archangels, we'll have to see which direction he chooses.
Just taking a look at some of the gold totals. So the Bank of Plank is still ahead of Xiang, just in terms of gold, only a little bit. But the mid lane is really where I'm looking. 2,000 gold advantage for Icon, just because of all the kills and the farm he's managed to pick up.
It's crested over to 7k gold at 14 minutes in the game. Usually you're pretty happy with having a Rod of Ages at about 13 minutes, so to be that far ahead of the mark is a super positive sign for any rise on any team in League of Legends. As we look past that, not just the items, what are we actually looking to achieve on Summoner's Rift? What's the big objective or play? I don't feel like anyone's looking at the Drake. It's a Cloud Drake. It feels very insignificant when you compare it to the other things that they could achieve. Top lane outer turret, mid lane outer turrets are the place that I would be looking for. OMG, I probably want the mid lane outer turret the most, but to get that turret, you have to make the Azir leave lane. Or summon a Herald.
Herald works. That's definitely a possibility here. Well, Six will just drop it off to the side. And how much health does mid lane up? Not a lot. So
that's the ticket.
It's gone. It's very much gone. And now they're waiting in the brushes. Here comes the Realm Warp onto Gimgoon. The slowdown as well coming in courtesy of the Ornn, and Icon plants him in place. Another very easy kill onto the Gangplank because he just has zero support from his team here, and that's going to be a third tower on that play.
Very hard to support him when it's a Rise ultimate and a max range Ornn ult to apply the brittle and slow him down in the first place. With the brittle there, Rise just has to press W, doesn't even need to spell Flux and power it. He's stunned for longer, and that gives the optimal spell combo for a Rise. Actually a super cool combo.
Yep, there's a lot of damage. Unfortunately, the Gangplank will die, and all he wants to do is farm. This seems like the last bastion of hope that's on the side of FPX is just constantly being camped at this point in time. And it's good for OMG to recognize that, you know, and constantly try and double down and exploit that. And OMG are just being constantly aggressive, and this is kind of the cornerstone of OMG's play.
They're doing aggressive, but they're doing it smart. Yeah, they have the Herald that they summon in the middle lane and say, well, I mean, we can let them kill the Herald. We're going to go towards the bottom side and find the Gangplank anyway. Or they can ignore the Herald, which will then chunk out their mid lane inner turret, and we won't ult bottom, but we disappear into the jungle, so we have the choice no matter what. OMG, they're making smart decisions. It's honestly impressive when you consider what they were last set to this set.
Yeah, definitely. Night and day difference, honestly. But FPX, so far in the wins that we've seen from them, they usually get ahead early and then able to win a fight, and then they will take objectives, and it's very stock standard. Problem is now we're seeing them, firstly, go up against a stronger opponent, and also, they're not getting the advances early. They're very much falling behind of OMG.
Yeah.
And they're not able to catch back up. I wonder what they would do in a scenario against a different team, more of like a middle-of-the-pack team, with a deficit like this and where they're able to come back. Because they are still looking for the opportunities, but they have a composition that's just straight up scaling. So.
The other part is this point in the game for FPX. You know, they struggle to close out games. They're usually good at getting early leads. But even around now, before the Baron starts, where do they go? And how do they do it if it isn't a dive? The only times that they look fantastic is when they actually have a stopwatch. And so they're able to snowball that early game past just the early.
On top of that, Pepper's not had a fantastic time either. Seems like every move he makes is a walled 6 or an Icon there to stop him.
He has been trapped.
Yeah.
In fact, he's going straight towards the Spectre's Cowl because he knows the state of this game.
Yeah.
FPX as a team acknowledge the state of this game, and they're building towards 3 items at the bare minimum. They want that one kick Lee Sin play. The fact that we're looking for that 17 minutes in, pretty rough showing.
And honestly, Pepper just needs to go tank and do Lee Sin things. Maybe he can get a nice kickoff onto a carry like Icon or Chelly. At this point, honestly, if you kick Icon into your team, he's probably just going to kill everybody because he's got 2 completed items. But if he can get down onto Chelly, maybe they can find a pick that would start a fight for them. Got 2 minutes left on the Baron spawn. And Mountain Dragon's going to be the next dragon on top of that as well for OMG. Most likely, they have complete control over the bottom side of the map.
It's just about holding on with farm for FPX. That's a big old shield on the LWX when he's able to get it, but his damage isn't there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how much protection they have. World 6.
He just has so much movement speed, and popping the ultimates to zone him away.
He actually just looked at them for that small amount of time where he wasn't invisible, and Azir ulted. No. No. Get out.
Do not want. Do not want at all. World 6 taking everything away from the jungle, so Pepper doesn't even get to farm now. And it is just a slow, painful death here for FPX unless they're able to contest something like a Baron or anything here, or maybe even get a pick. But OMG are playing this very well as they rotate throughout the map.
Well, that's the point in the game that does make the difference, Pulse. You're right. It's the Baron. When it spawns, it's up in 50 seconds. So perhaps they redirect their attention towards that FPX. And that is an objective that, if nothing else, they are highly trained in dealing with. Now, on the flip side, OMG, I wouldn't use the Baron as an objective you need to take. I'd actually just get vision control and use it as a team fight. They're far enough ahead that, honestly, the Baron is only cause for concern unless it's completely free. Don't make it a 50. Don't even play the percentage game on trying to outsmite the opponent. Kill FPX and then go for it. And because they're so far ahead, they can actually do that. They can establish dominance with vision after they all come back from base, I should say, and start to place it down. Because right now, it's all red.
Yeah, the game plan is very clear from OMG. Just play it slow, no need to make any risks. Whereas FPX, they have to make risks if they want to come back into this game, otherwise it's going to be smothered out. Though Icon moving into the top side by himself. Potential opportunity for them as Janna has actually just gone back here, and Azir does want none of that. Doesn't even want to come remotely close to Icon.
Also, you know, fundamentally, stuff that people seem to forget in solo queue is if that Janna hadn't recalled because OMG started walking at her, she had no wards. She had to go back to base, refresh her sight zone, and get 3 control wards. OMG, by doing this right now, they have all of their wards placed. And if FPX fight back and start to clear vision, OMG have none left to replace. And that's where 50-50s come about as World 6.
This is just absolutely absurd how he's able to sell through the entire jungle. Bing gets knocked up and knocked up once more, but in comes Pepper to be his savior. Crisp around the bottom side, trying to pincer them in, but OMG back away. Hey, it didn't work, just wait for the next ultimate.
He got very caught up in being invisible World 6. I think he tried a little bit too hard to be too flashy. I think he also tried to predict an Azir ultimate with his direction of jump there, but Bing flashes out, Bing takes the safer out, and doesn't find himself being predicted as Pepper is looking towards Icon.
I'll be honest, if he goes up there 2 versus 1, I'm not sure that they win, but Gimgoon in the bottom side will take the outer.
Take it while you can. He is by no means weak, Gimgoon.
I hope he's a sprinter. Or recaller.
He's ghost bladed, so he's definitely a sprinter.
Oh, it's Shelly in 5.
Roadblock.
Well, okay. Oh, he's actually trying to make it past them, but he's already used the oranges. In fact, he still has the oranges, didn't use them right there, and Gimgoon will die.
And good from Chelly, not to throw the ultimate, not to double up on the crowd control, to flash, make sure the Braum stun connects, and then go for it afterwards. Icon, he's ulting towards the middle lane to hold the wave. There's no plays being made just yet. They need Chelly, and they need 5 to rotate from the bottom lane first, of course.
Yep, definitely stagger the CC against the Gangplank. But he just get the outer turrets, that is a consolation prize. It was actually the first tower of the game for FPX, so small mercies. But Gangplank, he's not snowballing and he's not getting as big as you may want to. He's on 2.5 items right now, and he needs significantly more if he wants to be as impactful as Ryze or even Ornn or Varus as they will be in this next fight.
Yeah, he needs to hit probably 2 rotations of kegs to have a relevant amount of damage given the state of the game and how fed everybody is on the opposite side. There is a Zhonya's there as well for Icon, so he's got some armor. There's armor boots for Chelly as well with his Ninja Tabi. Not a lot of easy targets to take apart here for a Gangplank, not until that 3rd item at least is complete.
And frankly, it feels that FPX, they just need more time to be a team. They need more weeks in the LPL. They need to grow.
They've currently got like the perfect circle of wards as well. It looks funny on the map. It's actually a full circle.
There's that. It's about to get removed though, if you talk about FPX.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. About to go down. And again, we're contesting vision in the jungle. Just seeing if we can get a pick perhaps.
Hey.
Wow. Actually from a void spike. All right.
But you know what is important is that whilst the vision is being cleared out, there is so much of it, they can't clear all of it. OMG are on a ward. There is actually that many wards that you'll need like 2 sweeper rotations to even consider getting it all. So they have ways to get closer to the Baron pit is the point.
FPX, they're in this situation where they just have to wait for either a pick or maybe they can make a play around Baron, but the onus is not on them right now. Well, it is, but the ball is definitely not in their court. Because OMG have started off Baron. Pepper.
He knows it's being done. And it's at half health. It
Now's
is going
the time,
down very
Pepper.
quick.
Try and make this happen. And Crisp, I don't know where he went actually, because I saw the Ram come across and knock him up, but I didn't see him come back down. So, absolutely demolished. Bing, have to use the ultimate here, knock away 5, and Chelly and at least wall off the pass. And Pepper will also fall on the back. People are just getting picked off left and right.
Yeah, they're trying to survive. Gimgoon is still pushing on the bottom side of the map. There's no teleport for him anymore, so it's just about getting what they can. And Gangplank is getting objectives. You know that the Baron's going to go to OMG at this stage, and can Bing get out alive is the only other question that remains, and it looks to be the case. OMG very much snowballed.
I would have laughed had that the Gangplank ultimate taken the Baron, but not going to be the case on this one, unfortunately. Gimgoon gets another tower on the bot side, but that's essentially all that we have.
Yeah, as everything will subside, OMG, they'll get that chance to go back, get some items, and reassess the current state of the map with the Baron buff in their back pockets. With this Baron buff, and with the substantial gold leads that everybody has, except for Ornn, because he's against the Gangplank, you're looking towards a push pretty much down the middle lane, establish division control, and probably go between mid and top.
Yeah, looking towards, again, still the Gangplank. I mean, it's the same story. Broken record at this point, but we do have to look towards the Gangplank. Is he able to land that perfect barrel onto a carry in the backside? Because I'm not sure if Bing and LWX have really gotten to the point where they're hurting yet, because we've got 2.5 items on LWX, but a significant amount of armor on the opposite side from OMG, so front to back, good luck.
So that's the thing, right? Like, his items, they're strong. Pepper, he's desperate.
The fact that 5 is able to tank all of this damage and maybe even get out alive here, turns around, pops the fissure, slows the entire team.
They're winning
in
a 2v5.
Chelly and World 6 now turn up to the fight. They take down Pepper. They brought up the tower. That's a little bit of Bastion there, but now everyone's getting knocked out. That's 2 kills, 3 kills, 4 kills. World 6 demolishes the team. On Gimgoon, yes, he gets 1 kill, but that was completely destroyed by World 6.
I know it was desperate, but Jesus, Chelly and 5 pretty much just won a 2v5 against the entire roster of FPX. All they had to do was bring the rest of their team about, and FPX just got completely melted. The inhib's gone. You've got 15 to 10 seconds on the rest of the team. I think it's only 1 inhib this time around, but that's a recall, that's a reassessment. You know what? They're going to go for more. They're smart players.
No, he took 1 with him. We're going to the top side.
Only 2 minions wanted a part of this.
Yep. But that's absolutely insane. You're absolutely right, because 5, he tanked all of that damage from everybody. He got a heal out from Chelly, and Chelly just turned around and blasted them.
I think it was like he's not even ult as well.
Yeah, he's not even like the most tanky or fed member, I should say, on that side. You look towards World 6 now and also Icon, but he just doesn't die.
Can't kick him back to the team, Pepper, so it's just into the wall, but you're right, 5, he's got the locket, he had the door up. 5-man ultimate from Braum, and Chelly's been hitting pretty much this entire time. And look at Chelly, he knows. He is feeling himself and goes forwards, does get into the middle, but unlike other AD carries that get thrown into the middle, he doesn't want to flash somewhere safe. He turns around, he just starts shooting arrows at everybody that he sees, and he knows that his team's going to win that team fight regardless because of how much work he did alongside 5.
It feels like we're a lot longer into this game, Rusty, but we're only 27 minutes just. It's just because we've had so many kills. 17 kills to OMG, and scoreline very similar to Game 1, unfortunately. In Game 1, you definitely could have said maybe if these players went the other way, then they could see a different game. But in the second game, I can say that OMG have just exploited. They know the blueprint. Yeah. They know the way to beat FPX.
They do know the way.
And they've just killed them every single time. More importantly, Pepper and Bing. Like, they just could not make it happen in the mid lane duo. Here we go, once again.
Just
pressure. The Ram on the backside.
It's just pressure, they just want the turrets.
Tower down, Gimgoon gets knocked up. This could be really bad, has to flash away here. Chain of corruption onto LWX, and everyone has to get away from the corruption there.
Oh my god, that was a 1-hit.
Disappears.
That was gross.
Yep, that was World 6 and Icon, just tag teaming Janna.
That was nuts. That actually is unfair, the amount of damage that Crisp just... He has heal. No one expected that much damage that quickly. That's the second inhib that's just going to be completely gone. And OMG, they're far enough ahead that unlike what WE did against Billy, there's no response from FPX. They just have to deal with it. They tried their hardest to trade. Everyone got to about half health, but no chance, no dice, 2 inhibs.
2 inhibs, and looking towards the bot side now as well. What have we got next? It's a Mountain Dragon, so to add insult to injury, OMG will get another way to hit down these turrets, these towers, these objectives. And Gangplank is back to farming, because that's essentially all he can do at this point in time, is hope that he gets another item, becomes a bit stronger. He's working his way towards the Infinity Edge. Well, on the opposite side, you've got a full tank Xiang. Bottom side, 3 full items now. Mid lane, probably full build. Actually working towards a 6th, so...
Yeah.
Icon able to very easily solo this dragon.
Fully stacked on the Rod of Ages is always a big deal also. That last item could be a Ludens if he wants move speed, could be a Death Cap if he just wants to deal more damage. Honestly, I'm not sure he's going to be able to finish the item, so we'll never find out.
Yeah, unfortunate.
But there is an Infinity Edge done for Gimgoon, as you mentioned. He was getting closer to it, but he's actually got it. And that means that the miracle relies solely on the man with the kegs.
Yep.
That is the only thing left for them, is he needs to crit their faces off, and needs to do it within 30 seconds of them sieging.
Once again, the zoning ram goes right through the team, but there's enough to take down the tower. Ken Corruption misses. World 6 jumps in, but has to get out of the back. Here comes the Gangplank ultimate. They need to do something right now. The barrel was popped, but didn't hit anyone whatsoever. However, Azir's damage is starting to ramp up. They drop World 6 into his Guardian Angel. He'll jump away, get back to the shield and the sanctuary of his team. 5 with a good fissure, but he may actually be the sacrificial lamb right here. As there's the follow-up. Oh, Pepper! Great ultimate into the wall there, and will have to kill the Ornn as well. So FPX, successful defense. They do, however, lose their turret and are losing ground, but they have delayed the game.
And this time OMG are the ones that push up way too far. You've got the Guardian Angel gone from World 6 and 2 members gone, including the tanks. There were some kegs that crit some people in their pulse, and that is a big part of what makes the difference. And you're right, Azir has started to ramp up. There is some damage there. You're seeing some fight. There is some signs of life in the Funplus Phoenix roster. We always knew they were going to go down swinging. OMG kind of just let it happen, though. They pushed in way too hard.
They did. They just needed to take the tower and pretty much back off at that point, but
they literally
World
made
6
like
wanted it. He really wanted it. Luckily, he had Guardian Angel, so he keeps his perfect KDA alive. And I guess he's just working his way towards his death cap at this point. World 6, you don't get a jungle. I want my 6 items.
World 6 gets nothing. Not when Icon is 7-1 and wants something else. You just give it to him at that stage.
Well, technically, World 6 has the better KDA, so I feel like it should actually go to
I mean, technically, he doesn't have a KDA.
We're showing off KDAs to challenge over buffs right now and Grumps.
To be fair, his KDA doesn't exist because it's infinite.
True.
So,
well, technically, infinite.
Icon has the better KDA because there is no percentage for World 6. Ah.
I'm not entirely sure that's how maths works, but I see the theory.
Well, if it's kills plus assists divided by deaths, divided by 0 doesn't exist.
Okay, well, I could get into a mathematics discussion here if I start bringing in my pure mathematics knowledge, but I don't think anyone wants to hear that. Want to hear about what's happening in League of Legends.
Maybe I'm just triggering polls. Who knows?
But yeah, we're looking at this Baron now. And FPX, they have one final hope in this game, and that's to somehow wrestle the Baron from OMG and also win a fight at the same time.
I don't think they really... You know what? Inhibitors are alive. So with only the top lane inhib gone, they have a chance to get here. OMG, instead of pushing them away, are just taking the fight. More so pushing the Baron to a low amount of health to force the fight.
Coming in, nice double knock up onto the backline. That signals the chance for Ornn to go in. Pepper gets obliterated there. LWX jumps away. He's got a lot of healing, but Chelly, he's on the backlines, and oh my god, he just went deep. Takes down the opposing enemy AD carry. Big knockup from the Tornado as a disengage, but the jungle is down and pretty much no hope of stealing this Baron.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to steal the Baron. It requires something special from Bing. Gimgoon does have a lot of damage, and the thing is, OMG, they don't have a substantial amount of health, and for some reason, Xiang is zoning instead of tanking, so they made it harder than they had to. They do get the Baron, and now they're able to recall and set up as the minions push in.
You go back to base, and indeed FPX have to do the same because there is a big double super minion wave in the top side, another minion wave amassing in the bottom, so that both has to be addressed. And yeah, Gangplank, if he was able to maybe get in there, then perhaps he lands the ultimate or the barrel of the century, but that was not the case. And we see that initiated by Xiang.
The thing is, how does Chelly get as deep as Chelly gets is always the question. I feel like Bing's ulted him in some variety, but he didn't. So Chelly, he sees it. He's like, you know what? Take the Rise ultimate. Put me in the middle of the fight, team. I am the captain now. And he takes 2 of them out. The end gets a double, but that man's confident.
That's actually hilarious. That mid-fight, Chelly was like, hey, Icon, you're going to have to toss me. It's like, you got it, buddy. Pops the ultimate, throws him into the backline. And he had the Guardian Angel as well, so no worries.
Icon is the quarterback. Chelly is the ball.
He is. He's going to get another red buff. And 20-7 now. The fact that FPX are even surviving at this point is impressive. But OMG, this should be the final nail in the coffin.
To be fair, it's an Azir and a Gangplank. It's frustrating to push into. It's very hard to actually take down structures against. So OMG are really relying on having the Baron to end the game. So now is their chance to do exactly that. Because the one time they didn't, they lost a fight.
We could get into another BLG WE situation if FPX continues stalling. But it's down onto these inhibitors. Like, they are able to stop these inhibitors from going down. Maybe these picks start scaling up.
They have to win this fight.
Yes,
the next fight that happens, and it has to be forced by FPX, they need to win immediately, and then we bring that into the equation for sure.
You know, chipping away at these inhibitors, and it will go down, because there's nothing really to help FPX on open ground here.
Yeah, they go to top laners 5, they should go to bottom laners 5 immediately after. Get the double super minion waves start to stack for OMG, and I feel like that's the last thing they need to achieve before the minions help them actually finish the game. And all 5 members of OMG just corral those minions in.
Pretty much just don't get hasty at this point, because OMG have done 34 minutes of good work. Don't want to undo it with one poor team fight that allows FPX back into the game. So just poke away slowly. Xian can do whatever he wants to do because he's a big, massive tank right now.
You say things like that and I start to wonder, because OMG are the kind of team that may make those decisions.
They are. They have been slower to ramp though. World 6, he's just chipping away at bot lane, so OMG do not need to push too hard.
Here. That's why they have to respect, they have to back away. World 6 being bottom is good, for as long as the top lane doesn't die.
And maybe even just keep this cannon minion alive. It's going to be targeted by Pepper and LWX plus Bing, but bottom inhib also fell, so double supers are going to be spawning on next wave. Well, actually, top is still alive, so it's going to be another wave after that.
Yeah, I feel like now they're waiting for super minions to come into the middle lane. They don't have the threat anymore of pushing bottom while they're pushing top. They either need to force it. Pepper currently has the deepest flank you've ever seen.
I mean, currently, I don't think he's been actually seen
He's
by
going
OMG,
for this
so
kick.
this is a potential good fight here. And being zoned away by Gimgoon's ultimate. It comes down, kicked into the base, but the Zhonya's is active for Icon. He hasn't popped the ultimate just yet. In comes the Ram, lands onto 2. World 6 with the assassination onto Chris. The carries are still alive though, and looking towards the bottom of the fight. Gimgoon and Pepper on the retreat. He flashes into the ultimate, the round warp from Icon. And unfortunately, Roots in the place could not follow up on the Q. And that's a clean 5-0, and OMG will take the Nexus turrets.
OMG looking fantastic in this set against Funplus Phoenix. They get themselves the clean redemption victory, Pulse.
Yes, they do. It's 2-0 to OMG as they finish off Funplus Phoenix.